So one of the ways that you can take advantage of winter time and not getting too out of shape is to take your exercise to a different level. Usually wait till a snowstorm is passed and then get out immediately. There's nothing like breaking or being the first person on trail, especially when there's snow covering it. The only problem is staying safe. You have to stay hydrated, even in the winter time. You have to stay bundled up and keep your core temperature at a comfortable level. And it doesn't just mean putting out a lot of activity and trying to post hole through snow. That'll just get you sweaty, and then eventually when you stop activity, if you're in the winter environment still, you'll start to freeze. In the last few winters, I've accumulated, especially at the post-season sales, I've accumulated some equipment. Not too expensive. I don't really go that high end. I just get stuff, especially when experimenting, either used or entry level. So I am at the west branch of the DuPage River, and usually this forest preserve is a short run, or at least a short trail. But now with 5 inches of snow, it makes it challenging, and it's a good workout. As I'll show you with some video later on, the lake here has steam coming off of it. There's sun that's coming up. It's really nice. It's a pretty scene. And luckily, just like my trip to the Grand Canyon, I'm going to be the first one on trail. So there's something cool about having no other footprints except for your own. The only problem is you don't want to be post-holing your feet into 5 inches, so you have to at least have some equipment. The stuff that I've accumulated, I have these, which are my snow crampons. I will probably bring them just in case I run into some surfaces way over there that might be more slick than snow. If I use my snowshoes, then that'll certainly get me through snow, but sometimes these will be too big and clumsy, although they have spikes. Too big and clumsy for places like this parking lot is icy. Although it looks really rigid and rough, I am sliding my feet across here and there is no grip. So that, in addition to my hiking, you take the cushions off and hopefully you'll be able to stick into ice in case we come across some slick surfaces. And then second layers, a little bit of hydration, and my usual equipment. So we'll try this for now and get a little bit of a workout and hopefully get some nice. They do have spikes underneath, so it sometimes gets through a little bit of ice, but if you're just on flat ice and you got these big things, it is clunky. You kind of step on them. They're kind of like skis, and if you're not used to them, could be a problem. Either way. So the way you get this on is I usually get front buckle on first, get the strap nice and tight. So there's a crank, and it sets it right to your boot. And then pull the strap for heel, get that label real high up on the heel counter, or at least on the heel, and then make that nice and tight, and then you finish off with center buckle. So hopefully you have adjustables, but as these guys move, so as you step through the snow, they kind of, when your gait changes, they stay in the snow, they keep you above a couple. As we transition from parking lot to snow, should give me some pretty decent, yeah, I'm right on top now. So I'm not even sinking yet. And this is where we're going. Always good to know, or at least have a map of where you're going. And because the path, you can't even see it at this point. Oh darn, looks like somebody else came up here already. So if you look at the footprints of the guys that have passed here before, that's at least 2 to 3 inches in, and it's probably difficult to post hole. I'm kind of floating on top, so my feet don't get too cold. Looks like they just went to the bathroom here. So I am first on trail, just like the I experienced with the Grand Canyon when I went there after graduation of the Integrated Medicine Fellowship. I ended up hitting the trail with 5 inches of snow. I'll put a link to it. So here we are. The other thing that's cool about wintertime is that you can kind of go off trail a bit if you'd like. There's a sign up ahead, probably says don't enter, but kind of a good quad workout because of the fact that you got to pick up your feet high. It's almost like I'm bringing my thigh, the hip thigh angle and knee angle to 90 degrees with each step. So there is something hypnotizing about that cadence or that sound, and getting out during the winter time is not just to burn calories. Certainly exercise is important, as I always mention, in activity and weight loss, but what's more important is that you also quiet down. We have a jet passing overhead, so O'Hare must be open again. It also is getting out to nature to slow down, take advantage of the rhythm that nature exists in, and having every cell in your body kind of be reminded of that speed instead of the typical speed of 9 to 5 or rush hour driving or working on computers and deadlines and stuff like that. So when you kind of release all that stuff, get outside, whether it's summer, fall, or spring, cool. In wintertime, if you're built on extreme sports and activities to get a really good cardiac workout, you're not going to be happy by just getting out and slowing down. But there is benefit to this. As I've mentioned in the serotonin high video, it's just nice to get outside when there is sun. So whenever there's a storm, I deal with the storm as best as possible, but then look at the forecast for when the storm will break, and usually right after that is detox time. So the idea is take advantage of it, even if it's a work day. But don't bank on trying to get some big cardiovascular event going. I mean, as far as sweat and heart rate, it's just getting outside. And then having a deadline, making the deadlines for your eventual summit, which we are going to be planning for in 2016, just as Easter falls on the last day of March. So I just came from around the lake, and I thought I was following a trail because it looked like there wasn't any shrubbery. But now I'm on this, looks like a main track. Probably an access road for forest reserve and fire trucks. However, we had a cross-country skier coming yesterday. So I'm going to follow this for a while and get out the DJI, get some nice aerial shots. hike. Because of the 3 to 5 inches of snow, it took me a little longer than usual. And one caveat is if you're going to buy some snowshoes, try them out with a decent pair, not too cheap, and you have to get used to the footing because you can't just rely on your usual foot placement and lift off. So usually when you step down, push off, step down and push off, that's the typical gait. When you have snowshoes, you have to essentially put down, lift up, place, lift up. So you're doing a lot of kicking up or dorsiflexion, and you can't really go like this. You can't really point your toes backwards or plantar flex, because as you come through again with the swing, you'll snow shovel snow and you'll get stuck or it'll knock it off. So it's if you're going to get used to it, or if you're going to try it, just prepare for using muscles that you haven't used before. Yeah, I haven't used my snowshoes in about a year, and this is a setup for shin splints or medial tibial stress syndrome, because you're using a lot of the muscles in the foreleg, anterior tibialis, more so, and you're all constantly stretching out the gastroc and soleus, so also lifting up at the knees very high. So it is a little different. Just prepare yourself, give yourself some good recovery time, and we'll give you another option to get out and exercise.